Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Jumpstarting Your Sundays. I'm Overseer Curtis Everett, and we come to another rule. This morning is our J rule, and J is for judge nothing before the time. Judge nothing before the time. And the verse that we have for this rule is found in 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter and the 5th verse. That's 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter and the 5th verse. And it reads, "Therefore judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. At that time, each will receive their praise from God." Amen. Judge nothing before the time. Amen. Now we live in a time where it seems that when you comment on something, it seems to be one of the favorite responses of folks when you comment or where you discern something that's right or wrong. The first thing you hear is, "Don't judge me," or they'll say, "The Bible said judge not." Amen. And so there's several things I want to say about that. The first thing is, as believers, amen, this idea of judging is about, we're not supposed to pass final judgment. We're not supposed to pass sentence on anyone. Amen. It's not our job to have our little gavel and impose sentence on anyone. Are you there? Amen. I know there are people who call themselves fruit inspectors, and so they have the opportunity. They sit and they're able to judge your fruit. But in any case, we have a moral obligation as Christians to be able to discern between what's right and what's wrong. I'm able to discern that something is right and or that something is wrong. The example I like to give is, many of us remember playing cards, and you're playing cards and you're dealt a hand and somebody throws out, let's say, the ace of spades. Amen. Now, I can identify that the card they threw out is the ace of spades. I'm able to know that the card that hit the table was the ace of spades. However, I can't know what's in their hand. I can't play, as we would say, I can't play that person's hand, but I can identify the particular cards that person is throwing out. Amen. And so we have a moral obligation as believers to be able to identify what's right and what's wrong. And in today's times, it just seems like we're just so afraid. If you see something right and you call it right, if you see something wrong, somebody somewhere is going to say, "Well, we're not the judge." But who's judging? Who's passing sentence. But moving on from that, what I like to, the posture I like to take about some things where even though I may be able to identify that something is right or something is wrong, I usually try, hear what I say, I try not to remark to that particular individual unless I'm asked. Do you hear what I'm saying? Unless I'm asked about, the right or the wrong of that particular behavior or attitude or action, and so if someone is not asking me, I try, I try not to remark. I try not to comment. But if they come to me and they ask me, my first mind is to just give them a Bible answer, and that's because so they can't say it's my answer. So if you come to me and you inquiring, people like to come with their scriptures, with their minds already made up about what they believe, and they'll ask you, overseer, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And you already know that they know the answer, but you give them the Bible answer. Are you there? And so our mindset, I believe, our mindset as children of God is to really stay out of the judging business. Do you hear me? This passage says, judge nothing before the time until the Lord comes. See, as long as we're in these bodies, as long as we're living and serving the Lord, our attitude should really be to help people best we can to get in right relationship with God. Do you hear what I'm telling you? That should be our attitude. No matter who comes, our attitude should be, how can we encourage? How can we edify? How can we comfort? How can we instruct? How can we guide, with the right attitude, with the right spirit, in helping someone to get in right standing, to get in right relationship with God. Amen. I found out that many people, they already know whether what they're doing is right. They already know whether or not what they're doing is wrong. And the last thing they need is somebody sitting in the cut, amen, and always remarking and always commenting on what's going on. And again, the verse says, don't judge before the time until the Lord comes. And it says, because he will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. Do you see that? Listen, beloved, a lot of times we can see things, but we don't really know the motives behind what we're seeing. Are you there? So we may see something and it may look bad on the surface, but we really don't know what's the motive. We really don't know the person's intentions. We really don't know what's behind that behavior. We don't know what's behind that attitude. The only one who's aware of the true motives, the only person who knows the individual's intentions, the only person who really understands the circumstances is the Lord. Amen. And so we should leave those remarks, those what others call judgment, even though we may know all we're doing is calling a spade a spade. All we're doing is calling right right and wrong wrong. Let's do this, and let's stay out of the judgment business. Listen, if we can help somebody along the way, let's do that. If we can encourage somebody, if we can build up someone, if we can put our energy into assisting somebody on their journey, trying to help them to be all that they can be. One thing I learned in my walk with the Lord, it's related to praying for people. I found out that when you're really praying for your family, when you're, for their well-being, when you're really praying for someone's success, when you're really praying for somebody's deliverance, and you're praying for somebody to be restored or built up, when you're really praying for someone in love, I found out that it's really hard to judge them at the same time. Do you hear what I'm telling you? It's hard to love somebody and wish for their well-being and then turn around and judge them at the same time. And so, beloved, the J rule is judge nothing before the time. Let's try to leave the judging up to God. This is Overseer Everett. God bless you and enjoy your time in church.